What's up, guys? As promised, this video is about red tape, regulations, and the importance of being able to think outside the box as an entrepreneur in your early stages of business. Or I guess any stage. I can't imagine any circumstance in which it would hurt you to think outside the box unless you want to live life as a blue-pilled normie. Then, feel free to be as creative as you wish during these extremely narrow parameters. So, look, I mentioned this briefly in the last video, and while I was actually trimming this tree, I made a couple of comments on the camera, but you can't really hear them. But basically, when you trim a tree, you start from the bottom, naturally, and there are a couple of reasons, and you work your way up. You work your way up, trimming the tree as you go up, and you clear the branches out of your way to make a path towards the top, and then by the time you get to the top, everything underneath you is cleared. Now, that is assuming that there is nothing to hit. So, in this tree, there was nothing to hit, so all the branches could just be pretty much cut and dropped, but I pretty much climbed to the top first, and I didn't do a crazy trimming on this tree. And that's because, for reasons I don't really want to get into, I wasn't supposed to trim this tree. Well, the deal was for me to trim this tree, but technically, I wasn't, quote unquote, allowed. It's a gray area. So, rather than say no, it's a gray area, or no, I don't want to do it, I don't mind doing it. I'm not hurting the tree. And I don't mind taking a risk. But there is a certain way that I'm going to be taking this risk. So, for instance, one way in which you can think outside the box if you have to do stuff that either requires a permit that the customer does not have, or that requires a permit that the customer was not able to get, neither of which is a circumstance in this case. Sometimes a customer could ask you to trim a tree that belongs to the city that you're not allowed to trim. Now, again, this isn't the case now. I would never do that. But if it were, or, if we're talking about permit work and either the customer can't get it or does not want to get it, look, if they don't want to get it, then tough shit. If they don't want to get it, then you charge them way more money if you still decide to do the job. Now, if they can't get it, there's usually a good reason for which they can't get it. But if the reason for which they can't get it is fucking stupid, and you're going to learn what qualifies as a good reason and a stupid reason for your own standards as you go along in whatever business you have. But, for instance, if they're supposed to be issued a permit to do some routine work, and because of bureaucracy or whatever, they can't get it, well, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do the job. It just means that if you're going to do the job, that you shouldn't get caught. So it means that if the job is in the backyard, then that's one thing. But if the job's in the front yard, it means you got to do it discreetly. And you got to do it on such a day that there are no inspectors going around. Or if there are any city employees going around, like the offices are closed, so by the time anyone could catch wind of what you're doing, you're already long gone. You also want to make sure that if you do get seen doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, there's no proof. So it's one thing to be seen, but it's another thing to be filmed. Okay, so most people are stupid, they won't fucking film, but some people are fuckers, man. They see something that they think is dubious, even if it's completely legal, and they whip out their camera. So, again, like this tree right now, I'm thinning out the inside of the tree, so that little flower bed you can see at the bottom, kind of, surrounded by the circle of earth, so that can get more light. So I'm doing this, I'm hiding in the canopy. See, there's no ladder or anything. A mark is there, and basically, I'm not going crazy with the branches. I'm being very selective, and every one I cut, Mark is taking it away and cutting it up to make it small right away. And we have another pile of branches from a different type of tree in the backyard that we were actually allowed to cut. And we have a pile of those standing by that we're putting on top of these ones, in case anyone does pass by. So there's always things, there's always things you can do, always things you can say. And look at me, man, no ladder, no nothing, no extra ropes, just basically one rope and no chainsaw. There's no need for a chainsaw here anyway. Look at these tiny little branches, it's just overkill. So again, selective pruning, quiet, in and out, Bob your uncle. And this was on a Sunday when the other guys weren't working, and we made $500 on this fucking Sunday to do something that we weren't supposed to do. And again, pick your battles, guys. Like, you have your principles too. I won't do anything for $1. Fuck that, man. I have my principles. And a lot of the time too, the customer will do something to piss me off or say something, and like that's it. Like, fuck you. I made my choice. But I'm gonna make another video about that, about knowing which bridges to keep and which to burn. I'll give you a hint. You should fucking burn most of them. That's my opinion anyway. And yeah, you can be a bridge burning businessman. It's almost essential. It's almost essential. You can't be attached to what keeps you in the blue pill world, because all that stuff does exactly that. It keeps you in the blue pill world. And a lot of the time, it's more people than things. Well, sometimes it's things. Like, let's say you're in an apartment that's no good for you, or a house, or whatever, but you don't want to move because you have too much furniture, and you don't want to move your furniture. Well, you're a fucking idiot. Like, and that's going to be the end of you. So you're going to live, like, what, the rest of your remaining years in misery because you're too lazy to fucking move a couch down some flights of stairs, or to leave it there and buy a new couch. Fuck, I moved fucking 13 times in 10 years, man. I know what it's like to leave shit behind. I leave shit behind all the time, fuck. Yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's not such a big deal, fuck. My pair bonding ability has been desensitized a long time ago, which I recommend you guys do also, if you want to be successful at this sort of thing. So, usually, it's fucked up, man, but it's all related. People that are able to pump and dump are the people that are able to go from customer to customer to customer to customer. But the people who need, quote-unquote, to stay in a relationship for, like, 20 years or whatever, for fear of not being able to find something else, in case anything happens, they put themselves through all sorts of shit just to keep some fucking mediocre relationship going. These are the types of people that usually, big surprise, end up going through all types of shit to keep some mediocre job going. And it's fucking bullshit. It's a fucking waste of time, man. Take all this effort and put it into yourself. Like, you'll do a million times better. So, look, that was one example of thinking outside the box. Another thing, look, man, if you look professional also, you can get away with a lot. We used to wear high visibility everything. That might help you for what you do. I don't know what you do, but it might help. And we used to wear high vis because people would assume that we worked for the city, or that we were some sort of, like, officials. And for the most part, it worked. But what we didn't like about the high visibility gear is that it's not made to work in. They have, like, work shirts and shit like that, but it's made for people who stand around directing traffic. And it gets really wet with your sweat, and it stays fucking wet, and it stinks after, and it gets really heavy when it gets wet, and it chafes. Like, it makes your skin chafe, I should say. So you get rashes and stuff like that. And, I couldn't wear a high visibility. Well, I mean, I could. Look, I could wear a high vis shirt this day, and people would think I worked for the city if they saw me. But then they'd see my truck and my trailer, and they know that I wouldn't, so I'd have to take the label off my truck. So this way, and my story was, if we were going to get caught, that I had a little fucking stuffed animal in my back pocket. And my story was, if the city did come by, that, the little girl who lives there got her teddy stuck in the tree. One of her friends threw it up in the tree. So I was there, like, doing the hedges and trees in the backyard and stuff, all stuff that I was allowed to trim. And then at the end of the job, because I am an arborist, can you get my daughter's teddy bear out of the tree? Yeah, sure, no problem. And I didn't even have a chainsaw strapped to me or anything like that. I just had my little knife. And what's the little knife for? It's to get branches that are in my way out of my face, because the teddy bear is a priority. So always have a backup plan. I've taken down trees also, complete trees that I wasn't really supposed to take down, but I chose to do it anyway. And, look, you tell the customer that if you can make them sign something, that's even better, but you tell them that they're on their own. And that, if they do get caught while you're doing it,
So trees will
That
get better?
you're going to tell the city that they told you that they had a permit. You're going to tell them that they even showed it to you. And I don't know where it is now. It's not my responsibility. And you tell them they're getting nailed with the fine. This is fucking bad advice, I'm aware, but yo, if you want to do it, like do it. Fuck, I'm not gonna fucking stop you. Like I encourage it, man. Take a risk. Another
Yeah.
example. Look, man, I ghost trees all the time. Fuck.
Just like
I'm not
here in
gonna
my
say what
backyard.
that is, but you can figure it out. And the first guy that I ghosted a tree for, well, not the first guy. The first guy that like appreciated it, because people will pay you extra if you're fucking if you're smart enough to charge extra. You want me to do something like extracurricular, then give me some fucking extracurricular fees because it costs fucking money. So no, like you up your price right away. Fuck, if it's illegal, you could add another 50% right off the bat. Hell, you could fucking double it if you want. Find someone else to fucking do it then, or go through the proper channels and do it legally. Fuck you. Either way, it's gonna cost you more money. So that's a plus side too. Especially if it's an easy job that you know right away that you can get away with. It's like if someone asks you to do something really easy that doesn't bother you morally, and they're gonna pay you a shitload of money, but it's illegal. I mean, that's up to you to decide whether or not you want to do it, and for whichever reasons you want or don't want to do it. Like, cause again, it's up to you. So here I am in this tree, fucking taking it down, not taking it down, just doing a light thinning inside. I'm wearing all black, no high visibility. So that way, again, it's okay if people see me because I'm getting a teddy out of the tree. But we all know that I have another job to do also. So, yeah, I was talking about one of the first trees that I ghosted because a lot of the time people just don't want to get a permit because a permit costs money and they're too cheap. But and they're not appreciative of it, and they think that you should be the one to save the money and take a risk and assume the responsibility. But it's always a homeowner that assumes all the risk. So you tell them that. If you even record them saying that or get them to sign a waiver, but a lot of the time it's not necessary. You learn to tell which ones will play ball with you and which ones won't. I can't tell you how to do this. You're gonna have to figure it out on your own. But I promise you, man, the more you deal with it, the better you will be at dealing with it and pretty much extorting the price that you want out of these people. Another tip and trick for like these illegal jobs, like always offer less than you normally would because it's illegal. So, don't fucking overpromise and charge a little. I know I said you can like increase your price by 50%, if it's extracurricular, which is true. But at the same time, like don't go for the huge price right away because it's kind of off the book, so to speak, and high risk, and there's a lot of chance that a lot of variables could go wrong. Always under promise, and you don't even have to over deliver. You just don't want to dig yourself into a fucking hole that you can't get out of. Especially if the risk fucking far outweighs the reward. So you have to balance that shit. And if the price is right, and if the risk is not too fucking great, and if the price is right, then fucking man, I can't tell you when to and when not to, accept things like that. I do jobs like this all the time. Fuck, this is like, man, at least half of the jobs that I do, that people would rather, they don't want to play ball with the city. So it's fine, they'll play ball with me. And I charge them a higher price than if they'd play ball with the city. And but the city doesn't poke their head in their shit, because if the city is going to issue a permit for a tree in the backyard, and they see that like a deck is too high or something like that, or a shed is built without a foundation and it might be too big, then they're going to be, or if your swimming pool is too close to your air conditioner, all sorts of stuff. So I respect that too, but I'm not a fucking chump. So if you want me to fucking, do special shit, I'll do it, but at a very fucking special price. And look, you can refuse all these jobs if you want, but there's a fucking market for them.
Nice.
So you just have to fucking know your market, know your abilities, and, know what you fucking specialize in, and always have your fucking backup stories. And this other guy that I ghost trees for, once I ghosted a tree in the front yard,
So it's just a permit, eh?
and
Cool.
I had to climb it, and Mark was with me.
Alright,
And
great.
it took an hour to take it down. And it wasn't very tall. It was maybe 30 feet tall. But it was a hard fucking hour, It was rock and roll. And we took it down really fast. And then we cut it up really fast. Again, in the front yard. No permit, no nothing. And we tossed it in. We tossed it into the fucking trailer, all cut up, small and everything. And yeah, it took an hour and a half, 2 hours.
right?
You know, we
That's
undercharged,
all
but
because I can't
for us
help it.
back then, we thought it was a lot of money, but we made $500. And the reason is because the guy that paid us to do the job flips houses, and he had just bought that house
Pretty
because
much.
his friend had bought the house
That's as
across the
good
street
as I can do. I
that
only
faced
promised
the
to go with
lake,
stuff 'cause I wasn't
and the
sure.
house that had the yard with the tree that we took down in it, that tree was in the middle of the guy's view. So yeah, I know. I said I have morals and everything, but I was fucking broke, man. And I wanted to eat, so those were my morals. And no, it didn't bother me that this fucking dead fucking tree, like that was in the way, was gonna get taken down, like with no permit. No, it didn't bother me, so I took it down in, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Made $500 between me and Mark, and Bob's your fucking uncle, and the same guy too. And then he flipped the house right away. And the same guy, he's referred me to, like, other guys like him that want to do stuff quick and fast and pay cash, no questions asked, and they always pay my price. And I don't extort them or anything like that, like, but they always pay my price. And there's another guy too, at a dental office. There's a tree between the highway and the train tracks, and the guy wanted it down, but the city wouldn't give a permit. But he wanted to put a sign up for his practice, and the tree was fucking dead anyway. And again, he's like, "Can you do it?" "Yeah, for sure." "And how much?" So I said, $500. And he says, "Okay, done." I checked the train schedule, made sure there were no trains passing by, and I found out there were no trains for the next 3 hours. Went on a Sunday, again, no city officials, and I went plain clothes with Mark. No climbing shit, even though we climbed it anyway, and we climbed it in our plain clothes, shorts and t-shirts, with our hand saws, and we took it down. And it took 25 minutes, and we made $500.
It doesn't look like
And
it's
now
okay.
the guy who has a dental office, I just found out,
Yeah, I know.
his brother, the dentist, does cash deals, and he'll knock 60 plus percent off the fucking price. So man, like, network, network, network. I need some fucking work done on my teeth. I had 9 root canals in 1 year, and 14 cavities fixed, and that was 5 years ago, and now they're all coming apart. So yeah, beauty of thinking outside the box. So again, bad advice, sure, but it works. So you decide. And until next time, Chatelet Brothers, best of luck. Now go fucking get 'em.